Hello, my friends. I'm on a quest to be the most prolific reviewer of all time, and to do so, I review books, movies, plays, podcasts, um, television, mostly movies recently, because obviously it's quicker watching a movie than watching an entire television series or podcast run. But anyway, yesterday I watched a movie that I'm not sure I've seen. I think I may have seen, but it came up in my recommended thing. And it's The Queen, starring Helen Miren from 2006. So, um, it depicts. I'm just seeing if I. Miren. So Helen Mirren, Michael Sheen, and James Cromwell, among others. And it's written by Peter Morgan. Uh, and I think maybe he was the one who did the Crown series for Netflix later. But anyway, basically, this is about the period after Princess Diana's death in 1997. And it's really strange for me to think about this film right now because the film came out in, as I said, 2006, which is only 9 years after Diana's death. Um, and I watched another very bad film much later, like about 20 years after Diana's death. So I think the the strange thing about the film for me is I think the reactions of the royal family, especially the Queen and Prince Philip, are portrayed as being like very out of touch with the needs and the wants and the desires of the British people because they loved Princess Diana and they wanted her to be this sort of like icon, but they were right. Like the royal family was correct. Princess, I'm not sure which prince, whether it was William or Harry, they basically said that so there's this famous scene of them walking behind Diana's casket as they're going to the church, and there's like hundreds of people watching them, and they're like, I don't know, 9, 10. They're boys, right? And they said that they were traumatized by that experience of walking there behind their mother's casket. And can you imagine, like, if your mom died and then you were asked to walk behind the casket and the whole world was watching you and you were like 8 or 9 years old? Like, it's so tragic. And I think so basically the movie posits, and this is like the narrative that has happened since Princess Diana died. The movie posits that the British royal family is like completely out of touch and they should be more in tune with the wishes of the public. And Tony Blair, which is weird because this movie kind of came out again 2006. It's 3 years after the second Iraq War started. So Tony Blair's kind of this is probably the last time well, maybe let's put it this way. This was the last time Tony Blair was portrayed positively in a film, right? Because he's portrayed as like the voice of a fresh generation, and he's even fighting against his wife and his advisors when they say like the queen is out of touch and everything. Um, but yeah, I just don't buy the premise of the movie, actually. I don't think that Tony Blair. I think that they should have let the family grieve the way that they wanted to grieve. And the Queen makes the point that the Spencers also wanted a private funeral, right? So if that was the case, if the and they hang up about this thing that the Queen says that the Diana was a private individual, so she shouldn't be treated like royalty. And I think that the outside world kind of sees this as kind of like a condemnation, like you're a commoner, you don't deserve the treatment that we get. And I think probably in the back of the Queen's mind, it was something more like, you're free from this finally. You are free. You don't have to do this anymore. And then the public and the government establishment were asking the Queen to drag this poor lady's corpse around to make a show of it. So yeah, I'm a monarchist. I think I I know it's irrational, but I love the monarchy. I love the fact that there is tradition, and that my citizenship has a little oath to my Canadian certificate of citizenship has an oath to King Charles III, in English and French. I like that. I like the pomp. I like the circumstance. And I like the fact that the head of the government is just some random old guy or girl. Um, and I really respected the Queen. Like, the Queen, it's really hard to describe what kind of role the Queen had in people of my generation. Like, I went to school, there was a portrait of the Queen in the school. I don't think there's a like there was Queen, Lord's Prayer, and a Canadian flag. I don't think that people, I don't think that that happens now, especially the Lord's Prayer and the flag. And we had to say the Lord's Prayer before school started, which is crazy. But in Canada, officially, there is no separation of church and state. There's no official state religion. Like, maybe you could say that Anglicanism is actually the official state religion of Canada, because that's the religion of the monarchy. But yeah. Anyway, so I think I don't buy the premise of the film, but I think that Helen Miren and what was his name? I said it earlier. Michael Sheen do a great job in bringing to life these characters. And Sheen is very, very smarmy, which is 100% like Tony Blair. Um, so Miren does a good job of bringing forth the character of the Queen. And one thing that I liked, because I think Peter Morgan, as I mentioned, he wrote a series for Netflix called The Crown, which I think is a really great a biographical series about Queen Elizabeth's life. And they just take like one period and they do one season on that. And I think that the later seasons that speak about the death of Diana are worse than the earlier seasons, just because it's hard to know what to say. Like, they rehash the same things that this movie does. But what I like about Miren's performance is that she clearly shows her displeasure with Tony Blair. Like, they have a meeting, and she's like, I hate you. I really, really hate you. She doesn't say I hate you because she's the queen, but she's like, her her face is like, man, I hate you that you made me do this. This is horrible. This is horrible. Yeah, I did it because you're the prime minister and you forced me to do it, but this is not what anybody in the family actually wants. And I think like the children have the final say on it. I think that Charles was being opportunistic in promoting the idea of having a big public spectacle about his ex-wife, because he didn't like there's I'm not sure how true it is, but there's this thing like he keeps thinking that he's going to be assassinated because people think that he killed Princess Diana. Speed killed her, not the drug, the actual physical force of speed. They were speeding around, and the driver of the car might have been drunk, and they were also being chased by motorcycles because people were taking pictures. So, yeah. Um, Yeah, that's weird. I had a lot of thoughts about this movie when after, because it was one of those movies where I was watching it and I was like, yeah, okay, it's a dung. But then I realized right now, speaking about it, that I really do have a lot of thoughts about it. So that's the mark of a good movie. Do you need to watch it now? I don't know, because that's the other thing is like I think like for people of my generation, Diana and the death of Diana was this huge cultural event. But in 2026, does anybody care about Princess Diana anymore? I don't think so. But what do you think? Like, if you care about Princess Diana, maybe leave your thoughts in the comment section why you care about Princess Diana. And if you want to support me, if you like what I do, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of March, and currently, I checked this morning, we're at 375. So well on our way. So all right, thank you everybody. Bye bye.